the fact that the FDA's top dog left the FDA and went to Pfizer to be hired as their chief medical officer. This is exactly what RFKJ said he was going to try to tackle, this revolving door between Big Pharma and our public health agencies, which are obviously compromised. Your thoughts on it?
Oh my God.
This video that I'm getting ready to show y'all with Megyn Kelly having a conversation with a Dr. Malhotra. I'm not sure his first name. Let me get it to y'all. So Asim Malhotra. Let's see if we can get through as much of this conversation as possible. So, and let me kind of give y'all the little heads up. So a lady by the name of, hold on, I have her in my notes because they didn't put the name. So a lady by the name, where are you at? Hold on. Her name was Suzanne, right? Hold on. Let me get this lady's name for y'all. Let me get this lady's name. Pfizer. I'll play the video, get the lady's name, but I wanted to play her. I wanted to show her name because this lady that was the head of the FDA, she was one of the top FDA officials. She's now rejoining Pfizer. Let me say that again. The Pfizer's new vice president is coming from the Food and Drug Administration. She's going back to Pfizer. The head of the Food and Drug Administration was with Pfizer. Now, we're gonna bounce around a little bit because I'm gonna play as much of this as I can, and then I want to go to an interview that Trump did with Theo Von and highlight this conversation that was around Big Pharma. And that's another reason why I am supportive of a guy like Trump going into office, doing whatever he needs to do, calling out what's necessary, bringing a guy like RFK Jr. on to challenge the FDA, the Big Pharma, and all of these other things, all these other companies that have been super powerful and super convincing and bullying a lot of Democrats and Republicans to push their medicine, to push their drugs. And you're going to find out that I didn't even know that I believe the number 3 after cancer and like diabetes or something like that, cancer and heart disease. Do you know what the 3rd leading cause of death is in the United States? Let's take a look. I got to leave you in some suspense, right? I'll give you a hint. Prescribed medicine.
Top dog left the FDA and FDA's him just this week in the news. Dog left the FDA and FDA's him just this week in the news. The fact that the FDA's top dog left the FDA and went to Pfizer to be hired as their chief medical officer. This is exactly what RFKJ said he was going to try to tackle, this revolving door between Big Pharma and our public health agencies, which are obviously compromised. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, Megan, it's just a symptom of a system failure, really, these commercial distortions of health and healthcare. We had something similar in the UK last year. Jonathan Van Tam, who was a deputy chief medical officer, left his government position to get a lucrative job with Moderna. So it's almost things are happening in parallel. And, it's a real issue because we know that the interests of these big corporations, these drug companies, is not putting people first. It's about profit. It's profit through manipulation, profit through mass deception. We've seen the worst of the greatest failings of the system played out through the COVID pandemic, certainly with the rollout of the COVID vaccine. And it really just continues this sort of behavior, to be honest, and these sorts of actions just will undermine trust in our institutions and the medical establishment.
It's really amazing, and it's disgusting. I mean, this woman, she actually went to FDA from Pfizer, then goes to FDA, overseeing public health and the drugs that are going to be fed to us, and then goes right back to Pfizer. I mean, whose interest is she actually serving in there?
Yeah, so, it's interesting because
if that's not a conflict of interest, matter of fact, and Trump's going to talk about this later, but he's more focused on like lobbyists when it comes to this issue with healthcare. Y'all know what it is. It's Dak from the OG Network. And I just want to thank y'all. That's right, to thank y'all for all of your tremendous support over the years, whether you've been rocking with us from the beginning or maybe this is the first show that you're checking out on the network. We want to thank you nonetheless. And we have an ask, all right? We have a goal of reaching 20,000 subscribers by the end of March. That's right, 20K by the end of March. It's not a real goal unless you put a date on it. And with that, we need your help. So we ask that if you are enjoying the content that you like, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're feeling real generous, maybe share with some friends and family. All right, I'll let y'all go. And once again, thank you for your continued support. And we look forward to growing with y'all. See y'all. Imagine that. The head of Pfizer, you're working with Pfizer. Then they bring you on after working with Pfizer to be at the top of the Food and Drug Administration. But it's so easy for us to call out Elon Musk and saying, oh, he's doing this for his own pockets, for his own interest. This is a conflict of interest. Why did we not say anything about this stuff? This is why, like Trump or not, Trump put RFK Jr. in a position to call out a lot of this nonsense that is impacting all of us. Impacting all of us.
Also, people need to understand why or how this happens. One of the problems we have with, the approval of drugs or vaccines is that the so-called regulatory agencies that people believe to be independent are not. The FDA gets 65% of its funding from Big Pharma. So what that means is as well.
Wait, can you just say that again? Can you just say that again? I don't know if people.
Did y'all just hear what he just said? The FDA gets 65%, or he said 60 or 65% of their funding from Big Pharma. Think about that.
Understand that.
Yeah. The FDA and other regulators, like in the UK, the MHRA, get most of their funding from pharma. So the FDA gets 65% of its funding from Big Pharma. So it's in the interests, in a way you can understand, for the people working the FDA who are approving the drugs, they don't want to bite the hand that feeds them. But also, if they are friendly to industry, they potentially know that down the line they're going to get offered lucrative jobs with Big Pharma. You know, government jobs don't pay as well as these big corporations do. So it's a huge bias in the system, and it's damaging. It's very, very damaging. And you use the right word.
Up on that.
Disgusting.
What do you mean they get?
Megan.
What do you mean they get 65% of their funding from Big Pharma? Like, what do you mean? Why isn't the federal government funding the FDA?
Yeah, well, that's a really good question. So I think things really started to, this is part of the economic system we're in, Megan. So in the up until sort of the 80s, maybe early 90s, most of the funding of these regulatory agencies came from government. But because of the economic change, something called the neoliberalism, that was the brainchild of a Chicago economist who was very close to Ronald Reagan. His name was Milton Friedman. He basically, wanted to reduce regulations, if you like, and allow companies to basically, have open season when it came to drug development, less regulation, etc. And government obviously thought it was better for them to reduce spending, not knowing what the consequences would be. I don't think this was deliberate. And over time, what would happen is the drug companies then took over funding the very industries that are supposed to regulate them, because it suits their interests, doesn't it?
So think about this. I told y'all before about the doctors, surgeons that I work with. They've told me that the medical schools are run and sponsored by Big Pharma. When you look at these peer-reviewed, when they're doing like a peer-reviewed journal studies, whatever you want to call it, we've actually shown different videos on here where those peer reviews are funded by Big Pharma. So where's the checks and balances here? We just played a video, I believe. Did I play it on the last show where there were some doctors in Texas? I'm not sure if I played it on the last show, but a doctor in Texas, they were sending out letters to them, threatening them if they didn't go along with gender affirming care, saying that they will come after them with the weight of the government. They were getting letters saying this stuff. This is why Trump has to come in and move as fast as he's moving and drain this swamp. This is why the same government, and this is what I get so frustrated about when people say Trump's trying to destroy the government. And I'm hearing about it, and it's like the people that are telling me this are like I hate the Democrats, black Democrats, a lot of them. And I'm like, yo, you're heroes. It's Black History Month. A lot of I've heard y'all say plenty of time how the government is oppressive to black people, all this other stuff. So why do y'all care so much about Trump coming in and destroying it in y'all minds? I'm just wondering, isn't this the same government that oppressed you and oppressed us? And is the reason why we can't get ahead in America and all this? Isn't it because of the government? But then we bash the person that has the courage and guts to actually go in and destroy a lot of these things that nobody liked.
Of course, because then they get more drugs approved more quickly. And we're now in a situation where we're having to deal with a massive over-medicated population around the world. In the United States,
about 30 more seconds.
It's estimated globally, I've said this before, but people need to hear it again, that the third most common cause of death after heart disease and cancer globally is prescribed medications. This is not even to do with the COVID vaccine or other vaccines. This is pre-pandemic figures. And this is just one symptom of why we've got here, really.
Let me repeat what he just said. The third leading cause of death is prescribed medicine. Prescribed medicine.
Globally, is prescribed medication most common cause. It's estimated globally, I've said this before, but people need to hear it again, that the third most common cause of death after heart disease and cancer globally is prescribed medications. This is not even to do with the COVID vaccine or other vaccines. This is pre-pandemic figures. And this is just one symptom of why we've got here, really, Megan.
I want to take a quick turn. We're not going to be able to, there's a lot of stuff that I want to show y'all. I'm not going to be able to show everything. It just is what it is. But I want y'all, it's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.